Good morning. Gosh, that light is bright out there. You just gonna keep it bright? I think we'll just keep it bright. It's fine. Good morning. Welcome back to the corner. I was just checking that it is still morning. It is. It's 10:47 a.m. on Thanksgiving Day. I'm filming this morning because Brad is working this morning, so I'm home alone. And until he gets home, I just had, the day to do what I felt like doing. So I'm here filming with y'all, and it feels good to be back. I guess it hasn't actually been that long, but the gaps between podcasts just have been longer because I've been working. Oh my gosh, this battery wasn't charged. All right, hopefully this one's a little bit better. I have a weird bang thing going on today. I just took a shower and blow dried my hair kind of haphazardly. So my name is Leigh. Welcome back to the corner. This is where I sit and talk about whatever crafty things I've been up to. This is a primarily knitting podcast, sometimes sewing, cross stitch, and crochet as well. We're yarned again. We have yarn back. If you've been here before, if this is not your first time here, you will know that the background has been getting a bit of a refresh while I have been reorganizing and cleaning my studio / yarn room. We are finally putting everything back. I got more furniture. I got one shelving unit, and I got a couple of extra shelves to add to these shelving units. So this shelf is new. This shelf was about here before, and I moved it up and added another shelf. So now there are 4 shelves on this unit, which is so much nicer. It's amazing how much one shelf makes a difference. I also added a shelf too. I have the same unit, but a giant one in the storage room of my studio, and I added another shelf in there as well. And then I added a shelving unit into my closet so that I could do a little bit more organization in there because everything was just kind of tossed into the closet. That is neither here nor there. We're here, and we have yarn again. I have done a little bit of rearranging on my yarn shelf. I have all of my sock yarn is in these 3 cubbies here. So instead of horizontally across here, I have them in these 3. So now you only see yarn. You get a little peek of some books sometimes, I guess, but just all yarn over here. And I thought that would be nice. I do have, let me show you real quick. Over here, you get a sneak peek of some things I'm going to talk about in this episode. But I got this hanging basket for this unit over here, which I love. This has a bunch of Christmas yarn in it. And I have so much Christmas sock yarn that it has to be separate from the regular yarn shelves. So this is all Christmas sock yarn. This is a very special Christmas yarn sock set. And then, back where we're supposed to be, behind me here, this little basket is also all of my Christmas sock yarn. So that basket and that basket, plus this one sock set, that's all my Christmas sock yarn. And it's a lot, so it wouldn't fit on the shelf unless I gave it its own shelf, and I didn't want to do that. So that's where it's living. I may reassess after the winter holidays and replace them with like other seasonal yarns. I don't know yet. We'll see. I might not. All right, so I will give you the rest of my life updates at the end of the episode because some of you may not be interested, and that's fine. I have been making a few changes in my personal life, but I'll talk about that then. Let's get into knitting. Oh, I have a lot to talk about. I have been busy. I don't have like a good spot to put my drink now that I've rearranged this shelf. Hold please. All right, there we go. I can tell you what I'm drinking. I'm drinking an immune/stress tea. It is lemon balm, which is one of my favorites, and elderberry, and it's really delicious. Gonna try to stay not sick now that it's cold outside. Let's get into knitting. Let's talk about, we'll do a sock parade first. How does that sound? We are going to, oh no we're not, we're gonna start with FOs. I was just jumping right on into whips. Let's start with FOs. I have a few finished objects today. I might also talk a little bit about some plans that I have, but we'll get through what I've started already first. My first FO, God, it looks giant. I also didn't fold it up, but I finished a Musselburgh hat. Let's see if I can fold this up. This is, I think I was trying to knit the size medium, adult medium, but this is definitely, it definitely ended up being more of an adult large. Maybe I did knit an adult large. I find that an adult medium fits fine, but I don't think a hat can be, like, I'd rather it be a little big than a little small. So I think an adult large fits better, even though an adult medium is the size that it like claims I should wear, for me personally. Now, this hat is not for me, it is for a friend, but this friend I think might have, they don't have a small head. There's my muscle burra that I knit for my friend. I have not washed and blocked it yet. I am going to be sending it off with another project, so I have some time, so I haven't really been bothering doing all of the washing and tidying up of it and stuff. But this yarn ended up knitting so beautifully. Look at that. Look at how beautiful and dispersed that variegation is. It is a long dog yarn, the bounce sock base, which I believe that is it, the bounce sock, which is the 2-ply, like 85-15 or 80-20, one of those, in the color Fraser's Ridge, which is, I think when I shared this on Instagram, Brandy of Long Dog Yarn said that it was OG Fraser's Ridge, so it might have been reformulated since then, but it does come back periodically. But this was like the original way it looked. But it's really beautiful with these like light and dark olivey greens and then these like orange speckles. It's like hills with little tiny redheads walking around on it. And that's done. This was on the needles for a long time, but when we went out of town a couple of weeks ago, we went home to visit, to do our like holiday visit back in South Carolina. This was one of the projects I took, and I finished it while I was traveling. I did a lot of knitting while I was traveling. Hold please, Brad is calling me. Hey babe.
Hey baby.
Wow, surprise, we got paid today. Oh, I can tell you about, back to the muscle burra hat. What can I tell you? I can tell you that I used a size 2.5 needle, US 2.5, which is a what, 2.75 millimeter? I have two needles that are not marked. A US 2.5, and I used fingering weight yarn. So that is the type of muscle burra I knit up. It's my favorite combo to use for a muscle burra, although I think I may have been a little more relaxed. No, I must have just knit a large. I must have just knit a large because my gauge looks good. Anyways, that's it. A lingering whip. Done. Feels good. Next FO is, the only other FOs actually I have are socks. I have two more. And one is in my little coffee bag that I made myself. Just a little drawstring sock bag. I need to make a few more of these. I need to make some Christmas ones. I have a bunch of Christmas fabric that I've been accumulating from work, and I think I'm gonna have a sewing day tomorrow, but I don't know if I'm gonna try to crank out some bags or if I'm gonna try to make myself a shirt. I don't know yet. We will see. But in here we have, oh no, I left a marker on it. My K-Drama Yarn Club socks. They're done. They're looking really blown out back here, but it's a little better when I hold it up. There we go. This is the K-Drama Yarn Club from Bumblebee Acres. This one is July, I believe, and it was Hometown Cha Cha Cha. I did a US 1.5 needle for these and only 60 stitches, and they still turned out like roomy. So I think I could knit these on a, or at a 56 stitch count and probably be okay. But these are the Coquette sock base from Bumblebee Acres, which is a Corriedale nylon blend, and it is really plump. I think it is closer to a sport weight, but this color is so beautiful and was so fun to knit up. It's very summery, not seasonally appropriate at all, but I needed the color. I just did 3 stripes of the contrast color and the toe, and I did not do a contrast heel because I did not want to be bothered with ends, and I did a 1x1 cuff instead of 2x2. I've been really enjoying a 1x1 cuff lately. And we just ignore the end. These are done. I just need to weave in the ends, but that is considered done for me. This is how we do it here on this podcast. And yeah, those are for me. I love them. They're so plumpy and delicious. Next FO, Oh, I can empty out that bag now. I have all these bags I need to empty out. I only have one more FO. And this will free up a Christmas bag. I have in this cute little project bag I made myself with my Sockmas pin on it. It says Merry Sockmas. I have my, actually I don't know if you saw these at all. I think, no you didn't. You didn't see these at all. I started and finished these while I was on vacation. Fast. I really wanted to pick a Christmas yarn to take with me to South Carolina. And while I was trying, I like posted on Instagram asking people which like to vote for colors and stuff. And then I found this bag was in my whips basket with this yarn caked up inside of it from last December. And I had just never started it. And so I was like, oh, well, this is here, it's caked up. I'm just gonna do these. I'll just start these. This is a sock set from Northwoods Fibers. This was a mystery self-striping sock set. It's called Very Merry on the butternut sock base. Northwoods Fibers used to do a self-striping mystery club like once a month, kind of at will. I don't even know if they still do it, but it was really good. I got it a couple of times last year. This is an 80% merino, 20% nylon blend, 2-ply, very plump, very delicious. And it is like a moody Christmas. Let me show it to you. Ignore the ends on this one too. Hold on, let me stuff these tails in here so that you can properly ignore them. I think one has the ends woven in. Yeah, I finished this one and woven the ends immediately. So only one has the ends not woven in. Good for me. But this is what the socks look like. It's a very moody Christmas. I love it so much. It is a gorgeous self-striping yarn. It's got nice fat stripes, but they're very even. And then this dark gray matches this dark gray stripe here. This is the contrast mini that came in the set. And I did a contrast heel and toe only. I did a 1x1 cuff. This 1x1 cuff is 25. No, it's not 25 rounds. It's 4 stripes. I did self-striping ones. I do self-striping ones by stripes instead of counting stitches. And they're done. I love the brown in these. That brown with that like bright pink is really fun, I think. So that's a surprise. It didn't occur to me until I pulled these out that you hadn't seen them at all. So there we go. I can't believe these have just been sitting in a bag for a year. Awesome. That's it for FOs. Oh, that's not true. That's not true. I have one more FO to show you that is not knitting. Ah. Let me show you. This was also a long-standing whip. I have a cross stitch finished. Now, if any of you are cross stitchers, I need you to know, I always give this disclaimer whenever I talk about cross stitch on my channel. I am a very casual cross stitcher. I don't like take it seriously. I don't like do things how a lot of cross stitchers think is the proper way. I just kind of like follow my heart. It was actually my first craft. I learned how to cross stitch when I was like 3 years old. And it was the first thing, the first handcraft I ever learned to do. So I've been doing it for a long time and I've just kind of like been loosey-goosey with it. So I finished my Satsuma Street Let's Stay Home cross stitch that she released back when lockdown first happened in 2020. This was a free pattern she released so that everyone could have a fun little cutie project to make. And I did work on it on and off when it first came out, but I went shopping when I was in South Carolina, found a new cross stitch store that I'm very excited about, went shopping, and since I bought cross stitch stuff, I figured I needed to finish something. So I found this one. It was almost done. It was so close to being done. And I just like sat down one night and I finished it. I literally just had to finish like let's and then the S on stay, and that was it. So I finished her. She still has some rings. I haven't ironed her out or anything. It's got some fun, like sparkly yarn or thread in it that is really cute. I did modify the colors on this. I did not use the colors that she said of DMC floss. I wanted it to be a little less I think her colors were a little more like neon pastel kind of thing, and I wanted it to be a little more like bold. So I did replace the colors. If you're interested, I can give you a DMC list of what I used, but if not, it's not. I always feel like you can just like replace colors as you feel. If you don't like a color, just replace it with something that's kind of similar, that's more your style. So cross stitch should be fun, and there are no rules. Okay, I'm back. Had to take a bathroom break. I've been very regular lately. All right, whips. We have a sock parade. I have 1, 2, 5 pairs of socks to talk to you about. We are in the throes of gift knitting, and I haven't been finishing anything. Oh boy, I finished a hat. Let's start with this long-standing little one. I haven't been working on this very much because I've been trying to focus on gifts, but it did get a little bit. I honestly can't remember where this was last time. Brad's home and he's noisy. I can't remember where I was last time you saw this, but I don't think I was through the cuff yet. These are my Coffee Hut socks that I started around October-ish. 1st of October maybe. And these are, there's no pattern. I'm doing a 2x2 broken rib. And this is a yarn from Bad Sheep Yarn called Coffee Hut, just on her regular sock base. And I have made it into the leg of the second sock. Just a little bit. I have a little apple cider cup from Charmed and Dangerous. So cute. And that's it. That's all I've done on those. Not a whole lot. Those are for me, so they're not a priority. This is the most broken up episode I've filmed in a long time. This battery is now almost dead. So I have to change battery again. I have a sneaking suspicion that this battery is not going to last very long either. But I don't have much of a choice. I have 3, and apparently 2 of them were dead to begin with, and 1 of them was almost dead. So I need to get this filmed this morning. I need to also, it's 11:30 now. Oh my God, where's the time going? I have to make gravy before I leave for my grandma's because I don't eat her gravy. So I need to stay focused. We're staying focused. Next whip, we can talk about this one. I also made this bag. Did I say I made the little bag that this one was in? I did. This is also a bag I made. These are also bags I made. I love these little drawstring pouches for socks. They're so easy to make, and they're just like a pouch. It's great. I love it. In here is the pair of socks I am making for my brother for Christmas. I finished one of them. You saw that last time. These are just a 3x1 broken rib, a 2x2 cuff, knit out of brown sheep, hand paints, Wildfoot sock yarn, and it is a 75% wool, 25% nylon. The colors are Handsome Hiker for the main color, and the contrast color is Stony Creek, which is just a brown, which is really nice. This is a nice sturdy feeling sock yarn. It feels real sturdy, and they're just little 50-gram balls. I got one of each color. I am doing a contrast heel, toe, and cuff on these to make sure I have enough yarn for the whole pair. And I made it all the way through the leg of the second pair, and I am now on the heel here. I just started the heel, so I'm on short rows. And I did have a little bit of an issue when I got to the end of the leg here. I counted rows on this one and counted rows on this one, and this one was a good like ½ inch to an inch longer than this one. My gauge was different. I really relaxed on the second sock here. So I ended up having to rip back a little bit and adjusting my row counts to make the legs the same length. So this one is fewer rows, or fewer rounds, but they ended up being the same length. So that's good. I will just need to do the same thing when I get to the foot, I'm sure. Just make sure they're the same length. Besides that though, I think that's it. I am doing these at 64 stitches instead of 68 like I have done for my brother in the past, because I found out that I think his foot is smaller than Brad's and he can probably pull off a 64 stitch sock. So that is that. Still just trucking along on those. I have another pair of socks, these, that I've been trying to get through. So these are the ones I've been knitting on the most. I've been working on these. These are a pair that I took these on vacation as well, and I started them on vacation. I caked these up to take. And this is the pair for my friend slash a volunteer at work who gave me yarn to make her a pair of socks. And I showed the yarn last time, but I actually got the socks going. The yarn is Dachshund Daddy Knits. It is a superwash fingering, 75% merino, 25% nylon yarn in the color Root Beer Float. And she picked this up in Rhinebeck when she was there. And when I was on vacation, I made it through the entire first sock. This is what this looks like. It's got this really cool micro striping pulling thing happening. It's really fun. And she wanted a nice long leg, so I knit a longer leg than I normally do. And I did a 3x1 broken rib through the leg and top of the foot, because when I don't know, like if it's not for me, I find having some sort of ribbing makes them fit just a little bit better, a little bit more forgiving. So I did that on these, and I did a 1x1 cuff because that's the mood I've been in. And I have been working on the second one. I made it through the leg and past the heel, and I have just started the foot. And for hers, I only did 60 rounds for the foot, so I think I'll be able to blaze through this. I have a really pretty progress keeper here from Rochelle of Sassafras Knits. And these are just really nice. I'm knitting these on size 0 needles, 64 stitches. Is that it? I think that's it. Oh, I did on this one though. I could not find my needles at the time, like my tapestry needles, so I tried the Kitchener without a tapestry needle for the first time. And it worked. I don't like it as much. It's not as fast for me. And I don't think it looks like it looks the same. I don't know. I just like whipping through it with a tapestry needle. It's just easier for me, so. But I did it and it worked, so that's cool. And that's that one. That's the one that's been getting most of my attention, of the socks at least. The last pair of socks to talk to you about is, no, I have 2 more. Oh, 2 more. And they're both ones that I showed you last episode, and they've both been ripped out and restarted. We'll talk about this one first. This is also in a little pouch that I made. And these are for my sister for Christmas. And these are, do I have the tag in here? I don't have the tag in here. Sorry, friends. These are the egg yarn socks that I had talked about last episode. I did rip them out and I did start them over again at a DK weight. So these are on size 3 needles now, and I'm holding the yarn double. I did a 1x1 cuff, like an extra long one, so that it could fold over, because I wanted these to be nice and cozy. So they have a folded over cuff. I am through the heel and I'm working down the foot now. This is the first sock. These are fine, but I never knit on them like a lot at a time. They're not one, because I'm holding yarn double, and I don't know if it's the needles I'm using or what, but the gauge feels kind of tight on my hands. So I never just like forget that I'm working on them and kind of zone out. They always end up feeling like an active knit, so they're not getting all that much work done. I also have a progress keeper on here from Rochelle of Sassafras Knits. And then the little spider, look how cute he is. Oh, I love him. I actually have a progress keeper that came with this yarn from Rochelle, and as a collaboration she did with Lock and Lou, but I don't know where it is. It's in another project bag. I just don't know which one. So it got this one, but this yarn is supposed to look like a like an egg. I cannot remember what kind of egg. Okay, computer. I can't remember what kind of egg. Oh, a least turn. It's supposed to look like a least turn egg. And that's the name of the yarn. It's called Least Turn. Least Turn. Pretty sure. So there. That's what we got. Oh, from Craft Me Not Yarn Co. is the name of the dyer. I should have said that. So there's that. These are going to be a Christmas gift for my sister, and I hope she enjoys a DK weight sock. I selfishly wanted to knit a DK weight sock because they're faster, and I have a lot of socks to knit for Christmas. All right, the last pair of socks I have to show you are in this octopus bag from Woodsy and Wild, and these have also been completely ripped out and started over since you saw them. These are a pair of socks for my mother for Christmas. And they look wild. These look completely different now than they did last time you saw them. Because last time you saw them, I was knitting them 60 stitches and they were too big. They fit me. So I ripped them out completely and started them over at 56 stitches, and now they're pooling in this bonkers way. I have never seen pooling quite like this, and it is so cool. I actually love it. I'm really curious to see what it looks like now that I am through the heel and see if it changes for the foot, because I hope it doesn't change too much. I want it to stay that super weird pooling throughout the whole thing. This is a wool-free sock yarn. It is called Lana Mia Coton or Lana Mia Cotone. It is from Godifra, and it is a cotton and polyester blend, and is the color Jade Coral. My mom really likes the wool-free sock yarn just because she likes the way they hold up. They wear really well, and this feels really good. I'm using size 1.5 needles, which are a US 1.5, which is a 2.5 millimeter needle. So a little bit bigger, and I'm knitting these on DPNs, and I'm really enjoying it. I think I might cast on my next pair of socks on DPNs. And that's it for sock whips. The only other whips I have to show you, the other whips I have to show you are all garments, and I have 3 of them. This one I will just talk about briefly because I have worked on it, but not enough for you to really be able to tell. But I have worked on my birch pullover a bit. I have knit probably a couple of inches on it since you saw it last. Like I said, or like I say every time, this is definitely a long-term knit. I'm not planning on blazing through this anytime soon. This is a pattern from Andrea Mowry, and it is an all-over half fisherman's rib sweater. And it is beautiful. I love the way it's turning out. So soft and squishy. Very like structured and gorgeous. It's on a pretty small needle, circumference, so it looks really weird. But I have counted all of my stitches, and I actually have 2 more increase rounds to do. So I'm actually before my sleeve split, which means I think I actually only have, there's 5 rounds and then an increase in a repeat. So I only have 5, 6, 7 rounds to do maybe before the sleeve split. Getting pretty close. Getting pretty close. Last time I talked to you about this and I said I was close to the sleeve split, I lied. I was actually off by a few increase rounds, but now I am actually, because I did my stitch count check. So this is gonna be such a comfy, good, like basic in my wardrobe. The yarn is Less Traveled Yarn, who I don't believe dyes anymore, in the color Mugwort. And it is the 757 sock base, which is just the regular 75-25 sock base. It's just this gorgeous, like, tonal olive green. But that's, oh, and I'm knitting the size, I'm knitting the size 4. I don't know why I said it like that. Everything else is the same. I have not changed a single thing about that pattern. The whips. We'll do this one first. In this little cutie square bucket bag that I made, I have a project for a friend. Jen, if you're watching this, don't look. I will tell you when you can look. This is for my friend Jen. I had started this a while back and you may have seen it, but I put it aside because my gauge was way off and I didn't know what to do about it. So I just put it into hibernation, didn't think about it for a long time, decided it was time to pull it out and get this bad boy done. So I pulled out the stripy turtle tank I'm making for my friend. Excuse me. Look at this. It's so 70s and beautiful. I love it so much. I love this decision to do gradiating rainbow in like instead of doing green to yellow and then green to yellow and then, you know, repeat, doing it like gradiating in and out. I think that's the correct decision. It looks so good. It has this really pale blue background color that I just think makes it so especially 70s. I don't know, I love it. I think it's so good. The fabric is really soft. It's really fun to knit. I'm about halfway up the body now. I fixed the gauge by, I think I was about right here when I realized my gauge was off. Anyways, I was saying, I fixed the gauge on this by, I was about right here when I realized my gauge was off, and I was way off. Like, I was short 2 whole stitches in my gauge. It called for 26 and I was getting 23. Nope, that's 3 whole stitches. And I was getting 23. That's a big difference. That's a big difference, my guy. So I just changed. I just went ahead and switched to bigger needles, and no, it called for 23 and I was getting 26. There we go. So I just switched to bigger needles here and have just been knitting in the new needle size, and it's a little bit, you know, smaller in circumference right here around the bottom, but since it's ribbed, it was already going to be. I think it will be fine. So that's how I fixed it. That's how I decided to keep moving forward with this. And I'm so glad I did. My gauge is spot on now. And yeah, I'm knitting the size 5, I believe. Whichever one is the 44-inch bust. I'm knitting that size. And I'm lengthening the body a bit. My friend wanted a slightly longer crop to hit like at the top of their jeans, not like a true crop. Jen, you can look now. I'm done showing it. The yarn I'm using, Jen does know this, so it doesn't matter. But the yarn I'm using is Friends Cotton 8-4, which is from Hobby, or Hobby, whatever you call it. And it's a 100% cotton yarn. It's really nice. I really like this. I would knit myself something out of this. It's a little dry because it's cotton, but it's not super dry, and it's really like soft and plumpy. And it's not quite like a Pima cotton either. It's not like slick, which I really like. It grips to itself a little bit more, and sometimes I find Pima cotton lacks in that a little bit. This is a fingering weight cotton, and it does not have color names. But the colors I'm using are 26, 43, 93, 16, 104, and the main color I'm using is 75. So much fun. They're so cute. I love it. Jen helped me pick out colors, so they know what colors I'm using. But it's different seeing it all knit up. And that's that. I think I sized up to a US 4 for the body for that versus the pattern. I think the pattern called for a 3. I only have one more whip. The last whip I'm gonna show you is a new cast on in my dragon bag from Woodsy and Wild. I love this bag. And this was one that I started kind of on a whim and also had to order yarn for it. Oh, who am I? Wow. I'm not really buying yarn, but I wanted this. And I did not have yarn in stash to make it. So I could not afford the yarn that the pattern called for, although I did want to make the colors that the designer used in the sample. I'm not quite there. I am off a bit, but I'm still really happy with the colors I chose. I am making the Fluffy Border Vest by Irene Lynn. And this is a new pattern that she just released, and I love it. I was immediately in love with it. and I am flying through this. Let me show you the yarns that I got. I bought substitute yarns because I could not, like I said, I could not afford the yarns that she used, especially here in America. But I am using Plymouth Yarns Ariado, which is a very beautiful, soft, 70% baby alpaca, 7% merino, 23% nylon yarn. So I'm hoping it like holds up really well, but it's really soft. It's a chunky weight, fluffy yarn. And then the fluffy board, the edge yarn I got is Valley Yarns Chester, which is a 30% superfine alpaca, 70% Highland wool. And this is also a chunky weight. It's like this fluffy boucle. So this is the yarn I got for the fluffy edge. And that's what I got. I got 4 balls of this, or 4 skeins of this, and 2 skeins of this. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough to also make the bag that comes with the pattern. She gives you the pattern for the vest and then also a bonus pattern for a bag. But this is where I'm at. I am working down the back. So I have the neckline here, the shoulder seams, and I'm working into the armpits. And I'm getting close-ish to putting the back on hold, knitting the front, and then joining so that I can knit the body. And no sleeves or anything, so I'm not knitting this as fast as I could because this is on size 11 needles, which is what millimeters? US 11, 8mm needles. Huge, huge needles. Big needles actually hurt my hands a little bit, so I can't knit long periods of time with them. I'm definitely a small needle person. My hands are made for small needle knitting. So while there are a few stitches and it is fast knitting, it is not actually fast knitting for me. So it's looking beautiful. Like the fabric it's making is so nice. It's got these gorgeous cables. It's very soft. For a budget yarn, very, very nice. Very nice indeed. I still have a ton of yarn left in the first 2 balls. I think I'm going to be able to make it through. I think I might have enough left over for a bag, honestly, at the rate I'm going, at least. Oh, what size am I knitting? I'm knitting the size 3. I am currently, there are 5 sizes, which is not very many. But the body circumference ranges from 40.25 inches to 60 inches, and it's an open front vest. So it's like, it's a little forgiving with the actual size. I am knitting the size 3, which is a 46.75 inch bust. Body circumference is what it's called. And I think that'll be spot on for where I am now. But I'm also in the process of losing some weight because I am working on my hormone imbalance, which I will talk about in just a minute when I talk about life stuff. So yeah, that's where I am with that. It's going. I work on it a little bit every day, just a little bit, and it's going, and I'm very excited about it. It's very beautiful. I'm so happy. I need to make a shirt to wear under it. I think that's it for whips. I am going to talk about the couple of things I am planning on starting soon. One of which is a pair of, oh wait, no, acquisitions. Never mind. I won't talk about that thing I'm going to start soon because I'm going to talk about it in acquisitions. No, but my other thing is an acquisition too. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. I'll talk about this first, get it out of the way. But I mentioned earlier that when I was in South Carolina, I found a cross-stitch store that it was like a surprise, but such a glorious, pleasant surprise. And I bought a couple of patterns while I was there, and also some cross-stitch fabric. The fabrics I bought, I already put away, so I'm not going to show you those. And the other patterns I bought, I also put away, so I'm not going to show you those either. But I will show you this one because I bought it and I'm planning on starting it here really soon. The fabric is in the pattern here, so let me get that out really quick. I already have everything all together to start this immediately. but I bought this pattern for Winter in the Village by Stony Creek. And this is a really cute winter Christmassy cross stitch of just like a row of houses or a row of businesses, like a little street, little main street kind of thing. And they also have them for other seasons as well, but I just wanted the winter one. I wanted to do a Christmassy one. And you can also, they have here where they just did like the little houses or the little buildings individually, which is super cute. And you can see on this one they did like just a regular cream natural colored background. And I picked this really pale blue for the background of mine because I had it in stash. It is an even weave linen, probably a 32 count or a 36 count. And I have my needle and my needle minder ready here. It is a partridge with a pear from Satsuma Street to keep it festive. And I have all of the thread I'm gonna need, all of the floss I'm gonna need in my little Australia bag that I got in Australia. It's got the Australian flag on it. And there's a ton of floss in this. It's got an obscene amount of floss for such a small cross stitch. This is going to be about this big, which I guess isn't small, but it's not big, you know? Hold on, I'm not gonna try not to show you any pattern here. It's not this list of floss big. It's so many flosses, including a couple of specialty ones. Do I have them in here? Yes. I have like a variegated blue. I have this sparkly, this is a antique silver to use. I also decided that I was going to replace some of the white in the snow with some fluffy white to make it textural. That's gonna, leaves are blowing upwards outside. That can't be good. So yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm gonna start that soon. Little goodie I bought while I was in South Carolina. I also bought some extra variegated flosses. I went through my existing cross stitch patterns that I have and embroidery patterns and saw which ones called for variegated flosses, and I went ahead and ordered the ones for those as well, so I would just have them in stash. And I also picked up these couple of extra fun guys. I got another fuzzy white, but it's like a different kind of fuzzy white, and this dark green ribbon just to have in stash. These I picked up from work. And then also when I was in South Carolina, I went to the local yarn store there, which is Copious Fibers. Yes, there we go. Copious Fibers. And I bought a skein of Huasco sock. So I'm just taking the price tag off of here because it is blocking the name of the yarn. It's from this Araucania yarns. But anyways, that's it. My brother picked this color out for his Christmas socks. So this is the yarn I will be knitting up for my brother for his Christmas socks, for my youngest brother. And it is this gorgeous, it's got yellow, and then it's got a micro stripe, and it's got this like black and white speckle with like these neon speckles in it. It's so much fun. So I'll be starting these very soon. And then I also got, I'll probably finish one sock project that I have going, and then cake this up to get it ready to go. And then my stepmom and brother and father all gave me and Brad our Christmas gifts while we were in South Carolina, and my stepmom gave me 2 skeins of yarn. These are beautiful. These are from Threads Hand-Dyed Yarn by Megan Nicole, out of, it doesn't say where she dyes from. Threads Hand-Dyed Yarn by Megan Nicole. Gorgeous. And the colors are Cozy Autumn and Bourbon. Cozy Autumn does have a bit of green in it as well. And Bourbon just has such beautiful bright oranges in it. Oh, these are so nice. And they can go right here onto my autumn shelf, my autumn sock shelf. Perfect. Done. These were also acquisitions, by the way. You know, I had to order those, so those came. I think that is it for acquisitions, at least ones that I wanted to show you for sure. And I think that brings us to the end of crafty things. Now, all I have left is to update those of you interested on life stuff that I've been up to. I have been making some changes, some lifestyle changes. I have mentioned before that I was dealing with some like hormone stuff, and then I like went to the doctor. I had lost weight, and you know, with age and stuff, like a bunch of my hormone stuff had changed. My body basically completely changed when I turned 30. So I had to make a bunch of changes then, but then since then I gained some weight back, and that was affecting my like hormones and stuff. And then I started making little changes, trying to see if I could like try to kick anything back to normal, and none of it was really working. So I decided to make some bigger changes that I was avoiding because I didn't want to do them. But since doing them, I have seen a difference. So I guess I can share with you. The first thing I did was I stopped drinking caffeine in the morning. I stopped drinking coffee in the morning maybe like a month ago. And I started making sure to eat breakfast in the morning. So I was not drinking coffee, I was eating breakfast, I was drinking water, and then I would have like a little caffeine in the afternoon. When I hit the like 2:30 to 3:30 range, I would always get really sleepy. So I would drink a little bit of caffeine then. But then after about a week of doing that, I realized that the caffeine in the afternoon was making me feel bad. So I decided that maybe I should just give up caffeine altogether. So I stopped drinking caffeine, and then I went home to South Carolina to visit. And I grew up in families where we drank a lot of caffeine. Like whenever we're hanging out together, we're just sitting around drinking coffee the whole time. So it's a very caffeine heavy lifestyle. So while I was home, I was like, oh, I just really want to have a cup of coffee while I'm sitting around hanging out with my family. So I had like 2 little tiny cups of coffee. I would have like a half cup of coffee, and then I would have like a Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi at dinner or something. And every time I had caffeine, I felt horrible. So I was like, okay, well, I just can't do caffeine anymore. I guess I'm just not drinking caffeine anymore. So I have completely given up caffeine. I have been drinking hot tea with no caffeine in it. And I did buy some decaf coffee so that I can have coffee without caffeine in it. I have found that the amount of caffeine in decaf is not enough to affect me in a significant way. So I am still able to drink decaf coffee, which is so nice. I'm so grateful for that. And I've also a week and a half ago, started exercising. And not just like casually like I normally, like I have in the past, but like waking up in the morning, exercising first thing, and then getting started with my day. And I've never been an exercise person. It's just not something that I've been into, but I've been feeling so good, honestly. With exercise and no caffeine, my body is reacting very well to it. So I'm very pleased. I've been feeling good. I've been feeling really good lately. We're feeling good, we're feeling strong, and we're feeling alert, and we're feeling like a human being. Honestly, I was realizing that caffeine was making me feel, it was having the opposite effect on me of what it should have had. So whenever I drink a cup of coffee, a veil would come over my head, and I would feel like my eyes wouldn't focus, and I'd feel really like sluggish, super foggy. The brain fog was unbearable. I hated it so much. And I really thought the brain fog was like my hormones, which it may have something to do with my hormones. The caffeine may have been affecting my hormones, but I really thought that the brain fog was something up in my head, but it was the caffeine, and who knew? So as much as it hurts me in my soul, I've had to give it up, and it's worth it to feel better. So that's great. I love it. I'm having a great time. I might treat myself to a little bit of a decaf coffee on my way to my grandma's for Thanksgiving today. Which means I need to go. That reminds me, because I need to go make gravy and get ready to go. Thank you so much for joining me again today, and I will see you all next time.